Our children have spoken in droves all around the world. Right now, 2019, you have kids out there protesting about global warming, climate change. Kids. You got children. The ones who know that they got to endure this shit. They going to be around for a minute. So, obviously, it's something pertinent to them. But, logically, this is something that should be pertinent to every existing motherfucker on this planet. If somebody told you that you played a part in harming the planet, the question is, would you even give a fuck? Because these kids is telling us, the children is telling us right now, in droves. Shout out to all y'all, whoever started the movement. Shout out to you, because putting this issue to the forefront is very important, especially with the constraints of the media who don't do it. We had a presidential election in 2000 between George Bush, which I think mutually as a nation we can say failed, and Al Gore. What was Al Gore's campaign all about? He said in 2050, we're done. If we continue our contributions to the polluting of this world will not see, or the humans at least in the world will not see, existence. It's detrimental to human life as well as nature around us. He said this 20 years ago. We voted for him. You have to listen to that as a democracy. We voted for him. He had more votes than George Bush, and he lost. So as a side note, that should tell you about the democracy we live in. That should tell you about the social control that people who create shit like electoral votes to navigate around majority votes in a democracy. It should tell you about some type of corruption. If I have to point out somebody or generalize it, it's multinational corporations who have control in these type of topics. Billionaires, trillionaires, infinite amounts of money. So this video is not for niggas who are trillionaires, who are hoarding money, who are causing the most detriment to the environment with what they do. Mass production, the industrial revolution on steroids is what we own now. So this is not for them. This video is for those who actually give a fuck about the environment they live in. Because as you've seen, we fucked with Al Gore. We took heed to it. But since his departure, since he got robbed, nobody's talking about this shit. So for one, shout out to the kids for bringing this shit back up, because this issue has to be addressed. And for two, logically, you got the science out there, you got the evidence scientifically, but just do your own induction for yourself. Nigga, it's getting hotter annually. It's getting hotter annually. I remember it used to rain when I was a kid. 90s. I'm only 27, relatively young, depending on who you are, but 90s, I saw rain. When it was October, November, December, I could bet on rain at least happening sometime. I don't see rain anymore. California is infamous for a drought. Well, nigga, the drought is not just California. Vegas is shriveled up. Glaciers are being split. So, globally, our nature is telling us that it's getting hotter. And as humans, with rational reason and our ability to dictate nature or control nature or assist nature, depending on how you want to deal with nature, we have a say-so in how nature reacts. We are contributing to the demise of our planet, according to science. According to science, our credible source of knowledge, you know what I'm saying? So you really have to ask yourself, if you give a fuck, what can you do to help nature? Logically, in my opinion, if you help nature, nature will help you back, because you are nature. If you treat nature, and I hate to say right, because there is no right, wrong, this is all a spectrum of morality, but if you treat nature in a certain manner, that nature will come back to and fro and help your ass, in my belief. So this video is for the niggas who actually care, even incrementally. You don't have to care vastly. I'm not the environmentalist myself. I'm not the best. I need work. I don't recycle good. I need these messages instilled as well. I grew up in a capitalistic ass American society that is forceful and harmful on the environment rather than protecting of the environment. We cut trees for less reasons, for dumb reasons if you ask me. But 5 ways you watching this as an individual can help the environment, can try to not exacerbate the climate change, the global warming that we're facing now. Here are 5 things you can do. Number 5, simple, recycle. Like I just said, I have to make it a practice, because shit that starting to get severe. It's starting to get hot. You can feel it. But recycling, as you know, has been associated with pollution. Plastic in the water in the ocean is not only warming up the ocean, but it's polluting the ocean, and it's making it a place for animals not to survive in. So not only with the pollution of the water and the air, you have animals literally dying from our recklessness, from our ability to not give a fuck about what's around us, throwing cans and I'm telling you, I did it myself. So I'm not condemning anybody, but I'm saying we have to be more mindful of how we move and how we act. And recycling is one way you can help. It's not even hard to do. It's not even hard to do. Recycling, and by recycling, I don't only mean collecting and putting cans back and reusing things, but growing things, in my opinion. I'm not a grower. I need to get on that as well. But if you have the ability or the means to grow, that can help the environment. So I interwove that with recycling. So that's number 5. You could recycle. Number 4, driving cars ever so often. Now, I'm not finna tell you, hey, don't drive your car ever. You fucking up the environment. I'm not on the extreme spectrum to that level. Though, shit, according to what the cars is doing to our environment, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I'm just suggesting, as an individual, sometimes you may drive 0.5 miles to go get a burger, to go get a Swisher, to roll your morning blunt. You don't need to do that. You can walk. You can kill 2 birds in 1 stone. And by me saying nature caters to you in that aspect, according to our science, you're not putting out carbon dioxide emissions to the air, so you're not fucking up the oxygen, polluting the oxygen. You're not tampering with the Earth's crust, which, again, science is suggesting that's the reason for global warming. The crust is thinning, and rays are coming in, are going to be coming in to a point where we can't sustain and we can't live off what the Earth has to give us. So not only are you doing that, but you're walking, you're exercising, you're working out. You haven't heard negative feedback from exercise in your life. So walking more frequent. You ain't gonna give up your car. I know you're not gonna stop driving. The world's not gonna stop driving. In this highly industrial society, the world is not gonna stop driving. But you cannot drive all the fucking time. That's number 4. That's another way you can help, and which I know you won't, but I'm just saying it for the nigga who will. Number 3, stop supporting excessive militarization. Yes, we know we need protection. Yes, we know our military soldiers are the shit. The people who fight for us are the shit. But the people who send them to fight are petty. They go in for resources. They go in for colonization. They go in to extract nations. They are not humane in the sense that they don't care about the world, or they don't care about the nature around them. They care about enhancing material gain. America is the most funded military, the strongest military, and we spend a lot of money on polluting the environment when you talk about tanks and you talk about cars and you talk about airfare and chemical warfare. So, as citizens, what we could do is, hey man, we don't condone that shit. We don't condone excessive war when not necessary. If these niggas, Syria ain't no imminent threat, like we in Syria, we in Venezuela, we everywhere. We're stationed, we have soldiers everywhere. Literally. Middle East, Africa, everywhere. So, if we don't need to do it, a citizen push will be have to speak against excessive $1 trillion warfare. That's number 3, where you could play your part. Number 2, and y'all not gonna like this. It's so embedded in your culture that you're gonna hate me after I say this. But number 2 is reducing your meat intake. Why? Because for one, the livestock farming is has been associated with one of the highest pollutions of this world, even higher than the military. The means in which they take to develop the animal not only produces that pollution, but we feeding them, stuffing them with food that can be beneficial for us. So if we trade our diet in for the shit we giving them instead of eating them, 2 birds in 1 stone again. We're eating healthier and we're not polluting or putting these animals in a compromised spot to where they don't have a substantial way of living. We eat too much fucking meat on average, particularly America. You have more meat on your plate than you have greens and vegetables. When you know scientifically, you know greens are beneficial. You don't see greens associated with cancer. You don't see vegetables associated with inflammation, autoimmune disease. You just don't see it. Our science is good enough to tell you that meat associates with those things: diabetes, cancer, autoimmune disease. And it's good enough to know that vegetables ain't never did that. So logically, you can help the environment by eating less meat. And again, I'm not telling niggas to stop. I ain't your daddy, I ain't your mama, I ain't you. I'm just giving suggestions on how you can help if you want to. If you don't want to, shit, you gonna eat a big ass steak today, not watch this video because it says climate change at the title, and you gonna do what you do. But if you care, you might want to consider lessening that meat. I know I have in my recent days. So reducing meat can do a lot for you. And number 1, the most important of them all. Stop being so fucking capitalist in the mind. When you justify all these things with material gain or catering to your indulgence, what you liking to do, I like eating meat. It tastes good. That's cool. But is it worth sufficing your energy? Is it worth causing havoc to the planet around us? So our love for taste and indulgence, being a capitalistic mind state, is the worst, because if you talk about all these things, talk about militarizing heavy, it's out of the capitalistic notion to control other nations and regions and to have more resources. So without that capitalistic mind, you're not thinking of conquer and conquest, or you're not, as a citizen, supporting that. You don't agree with that. But our capitalistic mind state is like, shit, world domination, nigga, we run this shit, America, U.S. That's why U.S. ain't protesting heavy. We're so, man, submerged in the idea of capitalism that we finna sink. So you have that about capitalism, but then you have the mass consumption of meat. Meat was once a commodity or a privilege, I would say. You rarely ate